When Candy Morris vanished from Michigan City, Indiana, in 2012, her husband, David, began dating a member of the search party less than 3 weeks later. Bizarrely, on the same exact day almost a year later, not only were Candy's remains found, but David's girlfriend died in her sleep. 29-year-old Michigan City resident and mother of 3, Candy Brown Morris was reported missing by her husband, 45-year-old David Morris, in August 2012. David claimed he had last seen Candy on the 7th of August, however it was learned Candy was last alive on the 25th, when she dropped a friend named Tyron Harris off at his home around 1 a.m. Candy's wallet was found at Riley's Bar and Grill, and her car was found at Three Sheets Bar, both located in Michigan City, Indiana. A check of her cell phone records indicated she last sent a text near the corner of County Line Road and Chandler Road in Pines, Indiana. According to police, the text was sent to a friend and was nothing out of the ordinary. Volunteers scoured the area for Candy multiple times, however were unsuccessful at locating her. It was during one of those searches that David met a 30-year-old woman named Anna Reeves. Less than a month after his wife had disappeared, the two began a public romantic relationship. As the temperatures began to drop, the search was called off and Candy remained listed as a missing person. Then in May of the following year, Candy's remains were discovered in a wooded area near the town of Pines, Indiana, less than a quarter mile from where she sent her last text. Due to the extended period that her remains were exposed to the elements, investigators were unable to determine her cause of death. In a bizarre coincidence, the same day Candy's remains were discovered, David's girlfriend Anna died suddenly in her sleep. David had previous charges of domestic abuse against Anna, however her cause of death was ruled accidental due to acute mixed drug intoxication or overdose. David was never charged in Candy's murder and denies knowing what happened to her, however rumors swirled of his possible involvement. Suspicions were deepened further after David was found guilty of violently murdering a used car lot owner named 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿 in 2016. The small used car dealership, Easy Drive Auto, in Michigan City, Indiana, was co-owned by a 65-year-old 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿 and a man named Sergio Serrano. 𝐕𝐢𝐬 had moved to the U.S. from Mexico 3 years prior in the hopes of being better able to provide for his family back in Mexico. He worked at his dealership 7 days a week and nearly all of the money he made, he sent back home.
Sergio and 𝐕𝐢𝐬 became very close during their time working together, however when business began to suffer and the lot started enlisting money, Sergio decided to call it quits and sell his half of the business to 𝐕𝐢𝐬. Despite their falling out as business partners, the pair remained close friends. So in April, Sergio became alarmed when 𝐕𝐢𝐬 hadn't called or texted him in days. On April 23, Sergio decided to pay a visit to his old friend and business partner. He arrived at 𝐕𝐢𝐬's dealership to find the office closed and locked. After knocking for a minute on the door and getting no response, Sergio used his old key to unlock the door. Sergio walked to the back room of the dealership where he saw 𝐕𝐢𝐬 laying on the floor, covered by a sheet. Sergio immediately called 911. Investigators arrived and discovered that 𝐕𝐢𝐬 had been the victim of a savage murder. He had been stabbed multiple times in the throat and chest. An autopsy placed his time of death on April 19. A trail of blood leading from 𝐕𝐢𝐬's body to another room led police to conclude that he had been killed in a separate room of the dealership and then dragged to where his body was found. A broken window was believed to have been the killer's entry point. The office was in complete disarray and 𝐕𝐢𝐬's wallet and keys were missing. Sergio tells police that the car that 𝐕𝐢𝐬 normally drove, a white Hyundai Tiburon, was missing. Upon further inspection it was learned that another car, a green Subaru, was also missing from the lot. Investigators couldn't find any surveillance cameras on 𝐕𝐢𝐬's lot, however a detective noticed a security camera mounted on the business next door that faced the lot. The detective scoured the surveillance footage, to discover that on the day of his murder, 𝐕𝐢𝐬 could be seen on the video talking to a heavyset black man. After a short discussion both the man and 𝐕𝐢𝐬 enter a green Subaru, the same one that was now missing from the lot, and leave. 6 minutes later the pair return to the lot. 𝐕𝐢𝐬 goes inside the office and the man leaves on foot. However, an hour later, the man returns. Only this time he does not directly approach the lot. Instead, he stays hidden across the street and merely watches for a bit before being seen going around the side of the building and out of the camera's view. Police believe this person may be the killer, however the footage is grainy and they are unable to ID the suspect. The following day the man is once again seen on grainy surveillance driving away in 𝐈𝐢𝐲's white car. He is seen again on the 23rd, taking the green Subaru only minutes before Sergio had arrived to find 𝐈𝐢𝐲's body. The police turned to the public for help, and after posting the story on Facebook, a witness comes forward. A woman named Kristen told investigators that on April 21, 2 days after 𝐈𝐢𝐲's murder, she had seen a heavy-set black man exiting the dealership's office through the window and walk down the street. She had thought the incident was strange, but it wasn't until she saw the story that she made the connection. Footage from a law firm revealed a clear picture of the suspect. It was the same man seen previously on video on the day of 𝐈𝐢𝐲's murder. After police received 𝐈𝐢𝐲's bank statements, they saw that on the morning of his murder, he had visited a nearby gas station. Surveillance from the gas station shows that 𝐈𝐢𝐲 was not alone. The same man seen on the law firm's surveillance can be seen chatting with 𝐈𝐢𝐲 in line. The two exit the gas station together and climb into 𝐈𝐢𝐲's now missing Hyundai Tiburon. A police officer recognizes the man as David Morris. With his past convictions of theft, assault, and domestic battery, not to mention the unsolved murder of his wife Candy, he was well known to police. Later that same day 𝐈𝐢𝐲's bank statement shows that the large purchase exceeding $400 was made later that evening at a grocery store, including the purchase of a vacuum. Police know that David used the card several more times. Once at a fast food restaurant, another time at a liquor store. A bolo was issued for David as well as the two missing vehicles. Meanwhile, an officer types the newly purchased vacuum cleaner's serial number into their database to find that it was sold to a pawn shop in Portage, Indiana just 2 days after it was purchased. Surveillance footage from the pawn shop shows David and a friend arrive in the missing green Subaru with the vacuum. Using his friend's ID, he sells them the vacuum. Police believe they have everything they need to issue a warrant for David's arrest. They learn that David, who is still on probation for a previous crime, has a meeting with his probation officer at the courthouse. When David exits the courthouse, police arrest him. David is questioned by police and eventually admits he did steal the cars, but he claimed he last saw 𝐈𝐢𝐲 on the 19th when he bought him a pack of cigarettes at the gas station and he let him test drive a car. He said when he broke into the dealership, he did not see 𝐈𝐢𝐲 dead or alive. During the interview, police realized David is wearing the same clothes he had been seen wearing in all of the surveillance footage. They collected his clothing and sent it to the lab to be analyzed. Blood found on David's pants, jacket, and shoes was determined to be 𝐈𝐢𝐲's. The stolen vehicles were later found abandoned around Michigan City, and upon searching them, the murder weapon, a serrated kitchen knife, was found hidden under the hood of the green Subaru. David was convicted of the murder of 𝐈𝐢𝐲 in December 2016 and sentenced to 82 years. However, the murder of his wife Candy goes unsolved. There is an FB site dedicated to finding answers in Candy's case that goes back to when she was a missing person. That is quite the rabbit hole of rumors mixed with facts. 2 years today since the mysterious disappearance of Terrence Shamble Woods. On October 5, 27-year-old freelance filmmaker Terrence Shamble Woods was working to shoot a TV show in western Idaho. As the crew was wrapping up for the day, he jumped off of a cliff and sprinted into the wilderness, never to be seen again. The disappearance. On October 5, however, some bizarre things happened. First, at nearly 1 a.m., he sent a photo of a river running through a canyon with no description or words with the text. It was almost 3 a.m. in Maryland. Though he could have just been sending his dad some cool images from the day, after the fact, it seemed a little creepy. But weirder yet, at around 6 a.m., he told his dad he'd be returning home on October 10th, instead of mid-November. He had never cut a shoot short before. After a full day of shooting on October 5th, the production manager, Simon, relayed to Terrence's father what happened next. He told him that Terrence told the miner that he had to go relieve himself, and when he looked over, He saw Terence's radio on the side of a cliff. He thought perhaps he had fallen, so he went to look. But instead, he saw him sprinting away. "I've never seen anyone run that fast," he said. He said he sent some of the crew down to the main road, and he tried to climb down after him, but due to his SAR, search and rescue, training, he stopped running after him as to not scare him further. They reported him missing after the crew came back empty-handed. Another crew member corroborated Simon's story. In the 911 call, they said that Terence had been having a really hard time emotionally and had a mental breakdown earlier today, even though other crew members just said he had been acting kind of quiet during the day. When Simon talked to Terence's father, he referred to Terence only as your son, and told him that Terence was highly recommended to him, but that he didn't live up to my standards, which seems like a bizarre time to tell a father that, but okay.